Today I'm going to make a dish out of Let Them Eat Vegan by Drina Burton, and it is the creamy curried almond dressing on page 49, or if you add less water, the creamy curried almond dip. So to make this dish we're going to use an immersion or hand or stick blender. It's going to go into this cup and it's going to make everything nice and creamy. But that comes later. First thing we're going to do is it calls for 2/3 of a cup of water, but don't put it all in at once. So I'm going to put in about half a cup, leave a little here, and then I'm going to add the almonds, half a cup of raw almonds. And we're going to get this nice and creamy and smooth. Hold your ears. By the way, if you like to use almond milk, this is a pretty cheap and easy way to make your own without all the extra ingredients and the packaging and the expense of the store-bought stuff. So next thing now is 2 tablespoons of pure maple syrup. I'm going to kind of eyeball this. 2 glugs, and 2.5 glugs of apple cider vinegar. I use the raw unfiltered rags. Glug, glug, and half a glug, and a 1/4 glug for good measure. Now, it calls for 1 very small garlic clove. So the easiest way I know to get the skin off the garlic clove is to chop off the end where it would attach to the bottom, and then give it a gentle smash with the knife, and the skin kind of peels right off. I smashed it a little too gently. It usually comes off easier than that. And, oops, drop that in. And 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. So let me show you how I'm going to do that. I'm going to cut off a little bit from this piece of ginger. And if I'm in a real hurry, I can just sort of smooth off the edges like this, and I'll have a kind of a bit of a waste. But it's the quickest way to do it. If I have more time, I'll use a vegetable peeler and go carefully, and I'll do this. For this, I'm just going to do the quick method so you can see what that looks like, so you don't feel guilty if you end up using that yourself one day. And a couple of different ways to peel ginger. To grate ginger. One is just to use the fine teeth of a grater, and you can just send that right in there. The other is to use a special ginger grating tool. This is a bit of ceramic with sort of knobbly things, and it makes pretty quick work of it, and you also don't get any of the ginger hairs into the dish, just the sort of intense ginger flavor that comes from the juice and the little grated bits. You can see, doing it there, and here is the kind of hairy bits, and I can just squeeze that in. And this is about a teaspoon, not bad, and can go right into there. Next thing I'm going to add is a little bit of Dijon mustard. I don't actually have Dijon. I'm going to cheat and use regular mustard. That's a lot of liquid there, so I'm going to try to get there we go, pretty good. And a little bit, half a teaspoon of sea salt. Doesn't want to go. And freshly ground pepper, optional. I love some freshly ground pepper. And because it's curried, I have actually about a 1/4 teaspoon. The recipe calls for an 1/8 or more, depending on how adult you want to make it. 1/8 would be very gentle for kids, an 1/8 of a teaspoon. This is a 1/4, so we'll see how that works out. Right in there. And I'm just going to give it a bit of a shake so that when I stick the immersion blender in, it doesn't send the powder up. And I'm just going to zhuzh it all together. Okay, that's done. I can easily clean the immersion blender by make sure I get all of the good stuff off the sides, and I can just rinse this under the sink. And I'm taking a look. It looks plenty creamy to me. I have a little bit of water left I could add. I could also put this in the fridge where it will firm up a little bit, if I want to serve it later, and then I can always add more water and do one more zhuzh at the end. But here it is, the creamy curried almond dressing. Enjoy.